The Brave Archer of Kyoto, a story of courage, empathy, and teamwork. In the ancient city of Kyoto, Japan, nestled between the beautiful cherry blossom trees and towering bamboo forests, lived a young boy named Haruto. Haruto came from a long line of archers, and his family had practiced the traditional art of Kyoto, the way of the bow, for generations. Archery wasn't just a sport in his family. It was a way of life, a practice of discipline, courage, and focus. Haruto dreamed of becoming a great archer, just like his father and grandfather before him. But despite his love for the bow, Haruto often struggled with his confidence. He wasn't as strong or fast as the other students at the Kyoto dojo, and the fear of failing in front of others often held him back. One day, the sensei at the dojo announced a special archery competition. Teams of students would work together to hit the target from a long distance, a challenge that would test their skills, patience, and teamwork. Haruto's heart raced. He wanted to compete, but the thought of missing the target in front of everyone terrified him. What if he let his team down? As the teams were formed, Haruto was paired with two other students, Aiko, a confident and talented archer, and Riku, who was new to the dojo and still learning the basics. While Aiko was excited, Riku seemed just as nervous as Haruto. "We'll do our best," Haruto said softly, trying to reassure Riku. But deep down, he wasn't sure if his best would be enough. On the day of the competition, teams gathered at the edge of the bamboo forest, where a large target was set up in the distance. Each team member had to hit the target at least once to complete the challenge. Haruto's palms were sweaty as he watched the other teams take their turns. When it was Haruto's team's turn, Aiko went first. She drew her bow with precision, her eyes steady on the target. With a swift release, her arrow flew through the air and hit the center of the target perfectly. The crowd cheered. "Great job, Aiko," Haruto said, clapping. But now, it was Riku's turn, and Haruto could see the nervousness in his friend's eyes. Riku stepped forward, gripping the bow tightly. His hands trembled as he tried to focus, but when he released the arrow, it missed the target completely, landing far off to the side. Riku's face fell, and he quickly stepped back, avoiding the eyes of the other students. Haruto felt a pang of empathy in his heart. He knew how hard it was to face fear in front of others. Haruto walked over to Riku and placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's okay, Riku. You did your best," Haruto said softly. "We still have one more chance." Riku shook his head. "I messed up. I'm not good enough." Haruto took a deep breath. This was his moment to show both courage and empathy. "You're not alone in this. We're a team, and we'll finish this together. You've been trying hard, and that's what matters." Riku looked up at Haruto, surprised by his kind words. Then, it was Haruto's turn. His hands shook as he lifted the bow, and he could feel the weight of his team's hopes on his shoulders. The pressure was immense, but Haruto remembered his father's words. True courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about doing what's right, even when you're scared. Haruto focused on the target, took a deep breath, and pulled back the bowstring. The wind was soft, carrying the scent of cherry blossoms. He steadied his mind, remembering that it wasn't about perfection, it was about doing his best for the team. He released the arrow, and it soared through the air. For a moment, everything seemed to move in slow motion. The arrow hit the edge of the target, not a perfect shot, but it was enough. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Haruto's team had successfully completed the challenge. Haruto exhaled in relief, feeling proud not only for hitting the target but for standing up to his fear. Aiko rushed over, smiling. "You did it, Haruto. You were amazing." Haruto smiled shyly, but his real focus was on Riku. He walked over to him and said, "We did this together, Riku. Your effort mattered just as much as mine." Riku looked up, tears in his eyes, but this time they were tears of gratitude. "Thank you, Haruto. I was ready to give up, but you didn't let me." Haruto smiled. "That's what teams do. We support each other." After the competition, the sensei gathered all the students and spoke about the day's events. "Today, we saw great skill," the sensei said, "but more importantly, we saw courage, empathy, and teamwork. It's not just about hitting the target, it's about how we treat each other and face challenges together." Haruto listened closely and felt a warmth in his heart. He had learned something important that day. It wasn't just his archery skills that mattered, it was his ability to be kind to his friends, to stand up and try even when it was hard, and to understand the feelings of others. As the sun set over the dojo, Haruto stood with Aiko and Riku, watching the golden light fade behind the mountains. He knew that with courage, empathy, and teamwork, they could face any challenge that came their way. And from that day forward, Haruto was no longer afraid of the bow or the target. He had found his strength, not just in his archery, but in his heart.